A blinding light, a blinding light is shining in my eyes. I cannot see anything, I cannot see anything for miles.
Hello everybody, this is Pete with another video in my series of 30 or so that I'm doing to promote this album, Silhouette, Dafni's songs performed by her friends, an album that I co-produced with Alfonso Rodenas in 2017, already almost 6 years ago that record came out. I was still making videos, and it was an album that was made of Dafni's, as the title suggests, an album of songs, Dafni's songs performed by her musician friends in Los Angeles. Dafni was a singer-songwriter, guitarist, and she played in the Americana folk groups music scene in Los Angeles, and she was very well loved by her peers, and so after she died we made an album of her songs with her friends recording the songs. Today's video concerns Gwendolyn and her version of Dafni's song Fly Away. But first, I am today on this windy Sunday afternoon here in Los Angeles, sitting outside St. Sophia's Greek Orthodox Church on Normandy, and between Pico and Venice boulevards. And it's a beautiful church on the inside. Unfortunately, I think I came at a time when it's not open. And this is where Dafni and I got married in 2003, November 21st. In our Greek Orthodox ceremony. The astute viewers of these videos will know that we got married in the civil sense in July 17 that same year, but this ceremony was to do the religious variant of that. After Dafni and I had got married in July that year, 2003, we knew we were going to be doing this other church wedding. So we looked around to find churches. I think there are maybe 4 Greek Orthodox churches in Los Angeles. This one's the biggest and most ornate. One other thing that it had going for it was that it had we didn't have to do very much to have the wedding here. We had to go to one marriage class. Some of the other churches you might have to go to several marriage classes. Here you only had to go one morning, so that was good for us. Less work. We'd already been married at the time, so it kind of felt funny for us to have to go and listen to a lecture about what it's like to be married. We'd been married for a few months by the time we came into the marriage class. One thing I remember about that morning, I was very hungover. I do remember being very hungover when we came to the marriage class. And there were only 2 other couples there. And at one point, the lady who was running the class asked all the men to tell all the people in the class how they proposed. And if you remember from my Doug Newman video, where I discussed making the mushroom ring, the cremini mushroom ring, I felt very sheepish because I knew this story was going to sound really stupid to a lot of people. And I went third, so the other 2 guys told their stories first, and they were very elaborate stories involving spending a lot of money and organizing a bed and breakfast in Santa Barbara or something, or renting a very expensive car and buying a very expensive ring and telling friends and family, and it was all done very professionally. And then I came to tell my story about Dafni and I cooking dinner and deciding, should we get married? What do you think? What do you think? And making the ring out of the mushroom. And to me, I still think this is a romantic gesture, but the lady running the class told me that I really need to take my marriage vows seriously, and that I should take the other 2 men that was that's the way a man should propose to his wife. I thought it was funny because as I said, we were already married, happily married. We remained happily married until the day Dafni died, and I do know that one of those other couples was in couples therapy at the time when they were doing the marriage class. So I'm not sure that really I should be taking advice from people who are in couples therapy when Dafni and I were already married. It did seem very strange. Anyway, we got through it, passed the class, and managed to have our ceremony here. It was a small ceremony, about 50 people. There's a big church, very ornate inside. So 50 people filled the first 2 rows, and there's probably 15 so rows in the benches here inside. So it looked pretty empty, even though 50 people, that's a decent number of people for a wedding ceremony. Considering we were already married, I think we didn't really want to have something super enormous in terms of the guest list, because kind of like we were already married, and this was just a ceremony really for the just to get it have us recognized in the eyes of the Lord that we were indeed married. Dafni is Greek, or Dafni was a Greek American. The parents are Greek, and it was a nice thing to do for her family, I think. The wedding, yeah, we had mostly Dafni's relatives. My mother and sister came out, some people from the chemistry department, some musician friends, and pretty much it for 50 people. Dafni's friends, Julie and Jennifer, were her bridesmaid. I had Dafni's guitar teacher, Brian, as one of my groomsmen. I had Dafni's godfather, Dean, as my kumbaro, which is like the kind of like the best man, but more spiritual advisor, something like that. I think it had to be someone who was Greek Orthodox. I think it had to be. I don't know anyone who's Greek Orthodox. Other than Dafni, I didn't know anyone who's Greek Orthodox. So. During the ceremony, we had to stand. Probably lasted about an hour, the ceremony. I remember it was just a lot of standing still. We had to hold these big candles. They were probably 50 centimeters, 1.5 foot long candles, very long candles. We had to hold them the whole time during the ceremony. So that was basically my focus, was on making sure I didn't drip wax over my arm, and didn't faint or something like that. Just concentrate, Pete, concentrate. At one point we had to wear symbolic crowns that were tied together with a ribbon, signifying us being, linked together, and also being, Dafni was the handmaiden of God. I remember that was repeated many times. I think the service was in Greek and English, so the priest would say his stuff in Greek, and then he would repeat it all, and it was all about Dafni, the handmaiden of God, and blah, blah, blah. That's all I remember, the Dafni, the handmaiden of God. It was repeated probably 20 times every time her name was mentioned. I don't know what I was called. Something similar. Not the handmaiden, though. Anyway, there was a cantor, there was an organist. It was very well organised. It was we came the day before, I think, for a little bit of a rehearsal, and then we had a rehearsal dinner at the Beverly Hills Hilton Hotel. It was a very nice ceremony. There was. I remember at the end of it. Oh, two things I've kind of been thinking about today. At one point, the priest gave us a sip of port wine out of kind of a chalice. I don't know, but I'm 6'2", and I think the priest was maybe 5'8" or something, and he had to reach up to pour it into my mouth, and I don't think he got the angle right, and I didn't get any of the wine. And then Dafni was very short; she was only about 5 foot, or she was 5 foot tall, and she got a big gulp, and I remember her looking at me with this grin like the Cheshire cat, or a cat that licked the cream. It was this moment that we shared in this ceremony. Another thing I remember vividly is that after the ceremony, we came out to the front door, maybe over there, and it was just Dafni and me, and everyone else was still inside, and we got to have, I don't know, a minute or two, just private moment between us. And it was kind of a day like this, I think. No, it was in the evening, actually. It was just before Thanksgiving. I think it was actually on a Friday night, probably the week before Thanksgiving. And we came out and the bells were ringing. Bells in these bell towers were ringing, and it was just such a beautiful moment for us to share. No one else around, no one bothering us, and it was just a really lovely moment. After that, we had our reception at Il Cielo, which is an Italian restaurant, I believe, in Beverly Hills. I don't know if it's still there. Probably is. It was a very lovely restaurant. We had a Greek band, lots of Greek dancing. I don't remember much of the actual evening because I think this is a common occurrence when people get married, is that the day just rushes by because you have the reception that's maybe, I don't know, 3 hours long, but every 5-10 minutes there's something to do. There's the first dance, there's a speech, there's go around, greet the people, then there's the food arriving, and then the band starts. And it's I don't know, I just don't remember. I don't remember much of the actual reception. I know that I only had one bite of my dinner. I was hungry and I couldn't wait for the meal. I had one bite of, I don't know what I had, lamb chop or something. And I had one bite of it, and then my plate was taken away, by the time I got back from doing our first dance or something like that. Our first dance was to a Nick Cave, the Bad Seeds song called God Is in the House. I thought it was a lovely song. It's quite long though. I think that people were getting a bit anxious, or the band was getting anxious to start playing, because that song probably goes about 6 minutes or something. And it meant that we had to dance for 6 minutes, and we had not planned our dance at all. But some people asked us, "Wow, that was really good. Did you choreograph that dance?" It was like completely made up, because Dafni and I are completely terrible, got no rhythm. Let's see. I think maybe I've said enough. It was a lovely day. It rushed by, and after that, we were married in the eyes of the state and in the eyes of the church. So I could go on with my green card application. Probably it had already started by then, and everything worked out. So that was nice. Let's see. Gwendolyn is someone who's probably responsible for the fact that the tribute album got made, because without knowing Gwendolyn, we would never have gone to the cinema bar where we suddenly met all these other great musicians, and Dafni became friends with so many new people. I'll backtrack. Yeah, I used to always read the LA Weekly, and I'd always read every word in there. That was my Saturday afternoon ritual. And Gwendolyn was listed in there as one of the picks of the week on the music picks. And the little blurb said something along the lines of, if Frank Zappa was still alive, he would love this girl and collaborate with her, or something like that. I don't know. Now, I'm a Frank Zappa fan. Dafni was somewhat of a Frank Zappa fan. And so I just said, Dafni, we're going to go see this girl. I want to hear what she sounds like. And she was playing at the Temple Bar in Santa Monica, and not too far from where we lived. We didn't have a car, you see, in those days. Back in, it was probably around 2004, after we were already married. And so it's easy to get to Santa Monica from where we lived. And the Temple Bar was a very nice club, nightclub, bar, live music venue. And Gwendolyn was playing, and that day she came out from backstage with a white gown, and she had her hair in braids, and braided on each side, and with a helium balloon lifting them up. And it was just like, wow, this is going to be a great show. Definitely, we thought, this is going to be fantastic. And it was. And Gwendolyn is an amazing performer. She's a very creative and artistic, and her songs were quite quirky, kind of folky, psychedelic, progressive, hippie. I don't know exactly how to describe her music, but Dafni and I loved it. Very, very melodic and very interesting. Her band had her Gwendolyn's future husband Brandon was playing the like sitting on the ground, hitting a bunch of pots and pans and playing kazoo or something. He was like the drummer, percussionist. There was a guy playing the glasses with water in there, the water harmonica, I think that's called. And there was an upright bassist. So it was at a very unusual kind of combination of instruments for the songs. And Gwendolyn's songs are just lovely. I remember, to this day, I still some of her lyrics and things come to my mind from those early songs. We then, the second time, see, because we didn't have a car, and Gwendolyn was someone who played more on the cooler east side of Los Angeles, and we were on the west side. And she would play at the cool clubs over in Echo Park and around that area. So we would never go and see her. But that's the next time she was somewhere near us, she played at the Cinema Bar, and we went to see her then. That was the second time we saw her play, and she opened for Sarah Stanley, who I've mentioned many times. And you've seen her video previously. Was the headliner that night, and yeah, definitely I fell in love with Sarah as well, and her music, her band, and her songs. And that was it. Then after that, we kept going back to the Cinema Bar. I think next time was Sarah's CD release party, and we went to see that. And then Dafni wanted to get a show there, and she opened for Sarah, and the rest is history, as they say. So we knew Gwendolyn first before we knew anyone else from the Cinema Bar. And once we entered the Cinema Bar, we met all these, let's say Dafni met all these great musicians and songwriters, and we used to go there all the time after that. And so this record, the Silhouette Tribute album, it comes out of that scene that was centered out of the Cinema Bar. But it's because of Gwendolyn that we first went there. Dafni's song Fly Away appears on her final album, Sweet Time. It's the final song on the final album, Make of That What You Will. It's that final album came out in 2010. Dafni passed away in 2016, so it's not like her last. Well, I guess it's the last song that she released formally in her lifetime. The last song, the last album. But we'll see in a future video, there was an EP she was working on that has since come out called And If We Say Goodbye. Dafni's song, Fly Away, it's a very beautiful, kind of a hymnal kind of song. It doesn't really sound like any other Dafni song, I think. It's very poetic and hymnal, a lyric that can be interpreted to be about death, so that takes on new meaning. It's another one of these songs that only when Gwendolyn performed at the tribute show that we did before we did this record. But the lyric really hit me again. It's another one of these songs that, Dafni, why are you making me cry now listening to your lyrics? When Gwendolyn performed it, Alfonso recorded Gwendolyn's version of Fly Away at his home studio in Malibu. I remember Gwendolyn came, picked me up, we drove up to Malibu, and she did the song in about 2 takes, I think. A lot of the other videos that I'm doing, I'm filming while the artist is recording, and I only filmed about a minute or 2, so unfortunately I don't have a lot of footage from that session. She did it perfectly. She has amazingly crystalline quality to her voice. I don't know anyone who sings so cleanly. I don't know even how to describe it. Gwendolyn's such an amazing talent. She's a true artist. Often we talk about the musical artists. Gwendolyn, I put definitely down as one of the true musical artists. She has her own independent music career. She does music for television. She did, I think, 3 albums for children under the name Gwendolyn and the Good Time Gang, and just super creative, super talented. It's amazing the kind of people you can meet here in Los Angeles. I think her version is fantastic, her version of Fly Away. And I think I've spoken far too long for this intro. I hope that you'll enjoy this video and you enjoy Gwendolyn's version of the song, and I'll be back with another video shortly. Okay, bye.
I can. I met Dafni. I think she came to a show at the Temple Bar. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that was a club in Santa Monica. I think it's since now closed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not easily forgotten, you and Dafni. And she introduced herself and said how much she liked the show, and then I remember the next show I played, she was there. And the next show I played, she was there. I remember when you guys came to the Knitting Factory. Yeah. There was a couple shows there where I wore balloons on my head. She just ingratiated herself to me, you know, and just was so accessible, and just really loved seeing her at the shows, and thought, you know, this is someone I'd really like to get to know better, and that's exactly what happened. Well, she took me by surprise, you know, and because, you know, she had been coming to my shows for quite a while, and I had no idea she played. And then she handed me a CD one time and said, hey, I put out this new record, you know, check it out. I said, well, we'll have to trade, you know, and I thought it was quite good. And then she put together a band, and that was good and got better every time I saw her, and she was a very easygoing performer, and her songs just improved every time I saw her. It was like, wow, whoa, whoa. And then like soon I'm like, well, it's obvious that she's a better guitar player than I am, and her songs are amazing. So, you know, at first she didn't strike me as, you know, a peer. You know, it was like somebody that came to see my music, and then all of a sudden I was coming to see her shows. So that was a subtle shift. Happy that I could see her growing so much, you know, over a 5-year period. It was just like, and then all of a sudden, like, dang, that's a heavy, you know. She's a heavy. How did she turn into such a heavy? She's really making an impact on people, and it's quite special to see.
Shining in my eyes, I cannot see anything. I cannot see anything for miles. My hands are tied. My hands are tied. Feel anything. I cannot feel anything but the chill. at my door. If I could only fly away. If I could only fly. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Close my eyes, go to sleep, let it go. I'll keep on waiting. I'll dream of you, but I cannot see anything, and I cannot hear anything for miles.
There was a couple different songs that I had, a good feeling about that I wanted to do. And I was looking at the list, who's doing what. And, oh, that one's taken. Okay, that one's taken. But the one that I liked the most hadn't been picked. And it was the last song on Sweet Time, which it was her last record. And it was so poignant, and ethereal and otherworldly, and I just was, I gravitated towards it and was happy to be the one to sing it. I think it suits me best too. It's simple. I'm able to play it. It's not too fancy of guitar playing because she's so good. I was worried. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to learn all this fancy footwork. But especially like the way about 2/3 of the song through, she was singing about letting go. And I quite like the epilogue. My hands are tired. My hands are tired. I cannot feel anything. I cannot feel anything but the chill in the air.
keep on waiting. I'll dream of you, but I cannot hear anything. I cannot see anything for miles.
Very fondly. Dafni was so warm and genuine and always put me at ease, and I always felt like I wanted to hang out with her for hours and hours and hours. And she was so easy to be with. And again, I didn't know her terribly well, although we had known each other for years and years, going to each other's shows. And so when she invited me to dinner, I said, absolutely, that would be lovely. I'm gonna bring my 2-year-old. Is that okay if she ransacks your house? And she said it was fine. And the only regret that I have is that we didn't do it more often, because, you know, we live about an hour away from each other, you know, and it takes some doing, and life is how it is, and it goes past at a fast pace. And we always said we would do it again, and I wish we had done it again. But I don't feel like I missed out on knowing her or being friends with her, because, you know, like I said, from the moment that I met her, there was already a connection. Oh, of course, my new friend, hello. You know.
Okay, I think we're done.
A blinding light, a blinding light is shining in my eyes. I cannot see anything, I cannot see anything for miles. My hands are tired, my hands are tired. I cannot feel anything, I cannot feel anything but the chill in the air. If I could only fly away, if I could only fly. My heart is silent, my heart will slowly turn to stone. I cannot hear anything, I cannot hear anything but the wind at my door. If I could only fly away, if I could only fly, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Close my eyes, go to sleep, let it go. I'll keep on waiting, I'll dream of you, but I cannot hear anything, I cannot see anything for my